hashtag climate of change was a really interesting behind the scenes look of the making of the contemporary circus. And what I liked about it was the fact that you got to actually hear from so many different people who were involved in the project and really how they decide to break it down between making sure the themes were present, the acts made sense with articulating the theme, and even the costuming. I thought it was just so many cool components to hear about and to hear the expertise of their thought process. Um, what I really liked too about this is the fact that they're using such an important message about climate change and putting it and translating it into a language that can be universally understood. You don't have to know a certain dialect or anything to understand what's happening. You just have to appreciate arts and dance, and you can kind of interpret it in your own sense and break it down. And even then, it's still on theme, and you can come out of it with learning something new about climate change and what it's doing. So I thought it was just a really cool idea for people to really figure that out and to really break it down in a sense where anyone around the world could be able to see this and to get the message. So overall, hopefully more people get to see the final piece and be transformed by it and learn something from it. So great job.
Yeah, that was a fun documentary about what seems like a very worthy project. I wish I was in Europe so I could come out and see you guys. The just the energy of this company and their love of what they do is just so infectious. It comes right through the screen at us. So yeah, it was a very interesting exposure to their process, to the way the show is built, the themes, how it all comes together in an artistic fashion, and yeah, it really makes you want to get up and go see some circus show, especially one that combines these great themes also. So yeah, well done. It had an infectious energy to it.
Climate change was very interesting. I think it was pretty cool that they were trying to band together the world in what is essentially a very important message. Because I think one of the biggest issues with the topic of climate change is it always turns political. And because everyone has a different political view, it turns into just bickering and nothing is done. And as a way to kind of get past that, to have a show or an event put on that can take the focus away from our nationalities and on the grander cause that is our world, because that's the one thing that we do all have in common is we all live on this same rock. And I thought that was a pretty important but also really cool idea.
The world of climate change and circuses isn't really something that you'd think would meld together, and yet it does here so well. This is a documentary that is informative in the scientific information given, but then joyous and so much fun and just eye-catching in the talent that is displayed throughout of how to put on this elaborate production and the lengths to which they go to do it in this intelligent and sustainable way. I think that is absolutely the greatest takeaway from this, is that the modern circus is something that's so intelligent and complex and rooted in what's going on in the world now.
This was such a great short environmental film. And one of the things that I loved about it was it engages you right off the bat with the typist and having that come across the screen saying, "Hello, I am your typist." It was funny, it made you laugh, and it captured your attention. And it kept your attention throughout the entire film because it was a serious subject, climate change. And I love what they did by adding the acrobatic, the circus element to it and telling this story and how they were telling the story. All of the different people who played a part in this, from costume designing and set designing to lighting and the performers and the people who had this idea, your producers, your directors, getting a chance to listen to their interviews and hear their hopes, their dreams, and even a lot of them their fears. Some of the interviews were very funny with a couple of the performers, and but a lot of it was really serious and beautifully done. I liked hearing from the set designer's perspective. He talked about different set pieces and what the story was behind those set pieces, what they were for. And I found that to be really, really interesting and fascinating. The costume designer, listening to her talk about what the costumes were for and why she was picking certain colors, that was also great too. So this was amazingly well done. Amazingly well done.
I loved this. How incredible to think of and create art through circus that talks about climate change. Really spectacular. I loved the way this was shot. I loved the different people that they spoke with, both who could speak English and who spoke Italian. I loved the sort of candid shots that were happening. I really enjoyed those. Every once in a while, you'd kind of get a glimpse into a moment of their lives of preparing or rehearsing or, sewing or designing in some way, just trying to create this living art form that would educate and inform about climate change. And just so many people involved in trying to create this piece. It's beautifully done. It's so well shot. It's so well structured. I love the questions that were obviously asked to create the through line was really, really well done. The direction was fantastic, and you should be very proud. This is wonderful. I didn't even know, like, that map with all of the circus, the connections to all the circuses throughout Europe. It was just really informative, and I learned a lot, and I loved it. So congratulations. Thank you for making it.
Climate of Change was really interesting. I've never seen a group, like a performance group, be dedicated to climate change with their entire process. The message of their play and what they believe in and how they go about performing and performance practices as well. It was really interesting. It was a very down to earth. It was almost conversational watching everyone just kind of chat and go into detail of this show. I also really enjoy the concept of having a narrator leading them along this entire path, and being able to differentiate between any language barriers, but also act as kind of like the omniscient, all-knowing line across the documentary. So it was really interesting, and just overall really, really fun to watch. Also nice graphics at the beginning and transitions. Very well done.